Good afternoon, storytellers. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to tell you a story that is literally 14 years in the making. I can remember sitting on a pier with my boyfriend at the time, and I was in a spot at that time where I was feeling insecure and broken and really didn't trust a lot of people, especially guys. And Daniel was there, and I trusted him. And at that moment, I shared my heart. I shared a lot of my heart. He got to know the deep down me that evening, and I got to know him too. And I began to trust and fall in love with this amazing man. And out of that night, something sparked inside of me, a story sparked. And because I trusted him, I shared it, this idea of the antique chair. And this story over the last 14 years has evolved in so many different directions. And the story that I'm about to share with you probably is the last time you're going to hear it. But I love it, and I'm so excited to share it with you. And if you can relate to it, share it with someone else. I am so grateful to bring you the antique chair. So find your favorite story spot, sit down, and let's rock together. The chair was old, unwanted, and was barely used. So why did they keep it all those years? The chair rocked her as she came home from the hospital. The bumps in it sustained came from moments and hard times, the moves. The squeaky noises reminded them of all the long hours waiting for her as she gained her independence. It had rocked her as her heart crushed from heartache. It had comforted her mother as she waited for a phone call from the police to know her daughter was okay. The chair rocked her dad as he searched and prayed for his family that felt like it was falling apart. The chair rocked her as she came home from rehab. The chair reminded her of her daddy who read the Bible to her as a kid. The chair was dusty and barely rocked now. It appeared useless, unwanted, and worthless to the world. But one strong, confident, tender-hearted lady, it meant the world. She made it brand new again, but keeping some of the dinges to remind her how far she had come. She thought to herself as she sanded and painted it makes all things new. I improve. She began to rock again. The chair reminded her of what her daddy said to her as he rocked and told her stories. You are always wanted, always loved, always forgiven when you ask, and one day you will run into my arms, and I will always be there with open arms because you are my girl, always. And she rocked again. I could always relate to the antique chair. I believe that night when I told Daniel this idea of the antique chair, this dinged old rocking chair that nobody wanted and was throwing out, but a man had chosen and made it all brand new. I didn't know it then, but I was telling my own story. God was relaying to me my own story through the antique chair that night. And it was years later. So that was 2006 when I told that story to Daniel on the pier. And you'll hear more about that night at the pier. I assure you, there's a whole other story just for that. But that night, when I relayed that story in 2006, I know it was my own because on May 6th, 2011, I became brand new. Jesus transformed my heart, and I felt just like that antique chair. I was chosen. I was wanted, even though I had tons of dings, and I was dingy and felt dusty and unwanted. Jesus said I was wanted, loved, with open arms, and I ran right to him. And he made me brand new. And for the last, coming up on 9 years, I've been following him and learning to trust him more and more. So I hope you keep joining us and keep sharing your stories, because here's what I believe. I believe that our stories are roadmaps for other people to the cross, and it matters even more. And that's what this spot's for. So come and join us. Check our events. We have tons more stories coming up, and we're looking for your ideas too. Feel free to share them with us. Share your stories with us. We want to hear them. You're loved. You're wanted. Type your story. Thanks for joining us.